Let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat down and read something in English? Just for fun, not for homework, not to study grammar, just because you wanted to. Many English learners don't read. They think it's too slow or too hard, or they believe it won't help with speaking, so they spend hours learning rules, watching videos, repeating phrases, but still feel blocked when they try to talk. It's frustrating, right? You know many words, but you can't use them. You understand English, but speaking feels heavy. Why does this happen? What if the answer is something simple and quiet? Not something loud, not something fast, just a small habit that could change how you feel about English. Let me tell you about Emma. Emma lived in a small town in Chile. She worked at a bookstore. She liked her job, but she had a dream. She wanted to travel and work in another country. For that, she needed to speak better English. Emma understood English. She could read signs, understand videos, and follow conversations, but when she had to speak, it was hard. She spoke very slowly. She often stopped in the middle of a sentence. Sometimes she didn't finish her ideas. She felt nervous, even when she talked to herself in English. Emma thought she needed more grammar. She watched short lessons online. She repeated vocabulary, but her speaking didn't improve. Then, one evening, she was cleaning the bookstore. She found a small book in English. It was for children. The title was The Lost Dog. She opened it and read the first page. It was simple. Short sentences, easy words. She understood it. That night, she took the book home. She read 2 more pages before bed. The next night, she read again and again. After 1 week, she noticed something. When she thought in English, the words came a little faster. She didn't feel so blocked. She didn't need to translate as much. She didn't study the book. She didn't write notes. She just read. Slowly, English started to feel more natural. She began to read other books, short novels, blog posts, and even emails in English. She chose texts that were not too hard, and that felt interesting. After 1 month, her speaking changed. She didn't speak perfectly, but she didn't stop in the middle of her sentences anymore. She started to speak with more flow. Her words felt more automatic. She said, "I don't know how it happened. I just feel more free when I speak now." Reading helped Emma in a quiet way. It didn't feel like study. It felt like connection. It helped her brain see the rhythm of English. It showed her how real sentences work, and it gave her confidence. And it all started with 1 small book and 5 minutes a day. Emma's story gives us one powerful idea. Reading is not just for learning words. Reading trains your brain to speak. This surprises many people. They say, "But reading is quiet. Speaking is active. How can reading help me speak better?" That's a good question. Let's look at what really happens when you read. When you read in English, your brain sees the language in action. You don't just see a word. You see how it fits in a sentence. You see how questions are formed. You hear the rhythm in your head. You notice the small but important things, like how we use a and the, or how we join short words like I'm or don't. You don't memorize these things. You absorb them, and the more you read, the more your brain starts to recognize patterns. You begin to feel the language, not just study it. Now, let's compare this to grammar study. When you study grammar rules, you focus with your mind. You analyze. You try to remember. This can help, but it's slow, and it can feel heavy. When you read, you learn through experience. It's like how children learn to speak. They hear words in real life. They see and feel how language works. Reading gives you that same experience, but in a quiet, relaxed way. It also helps with vocabulary, but not just by giving you new words. It shows you how to use those words. You learn when to say make and when to say do. You learn how to use simple verbs like get or take. You learn how people really speak, not textbook English, but real, natural English. And here's the best part. When you read something you enjoy, your brain relaxes. You are not stressed. You are not worried about mistakes. You are just spending time with the language. That's when learning becomes powerful. Think of reading like food for your English brain. You don't grow by eating one big meal. You grow by eating a little every day. Reading is the same. Just 5 minutes a day can make a big difference. No need to understand every word. No need to translate. Just keep reading. Your brain will do the work in the background. So, the big idea is this. If you want to speak better, read more. Not as a student. As a person who lives with English, that's what changed for Emma. She stopped being a language student and started living with English. And it all began with a small book, 5 minutes a day. Now, how reading helps you speak. Yes, speak. Even if you're not saying the words out loud, reading in English trains your ear. It helps you understand the rhythm, the speed, the way English sounds. Let me explain. When you read in English, try to hear the words in your mind. Don't just read like a robot. Read like a person. Imagine someone is saying the words to you. Slowly, clearly, with feeling. That is the rhythm you need when you speak. English has a different music than Spanish. Some words are short. Some words are stressed. Some parts are fast. Others are soft. If you only study grammar, you don't hear this. But when you read, especially if you read out loud or listen while reading, you start to notice the natural flow of English. This helps your brain remember full phrases, not just single words. So here's a tip. Start with short texts, maybe a story, maybe a conversation. Read it slowly. Try to understand the emotion, the mood, the feeling behind the words. Ask yourself, how would I say this to a friend? Try to read it again, but this time with voice. You don't need to be loud. You can whisper or just move your lips, but give the words a voice, a human voice, your voice. This kind of practice is powerful. Another tip. Don't stop at every word you don't know. If the sentence still makes sense, keep going. Your brain is smarter than you think. It can guess. It can learn from context. That's how children learn. And you can learn the same way. If you want to go further, you can listen to an audio version of the same text. Read along with the voice. Feel the timing. Notice how some words connect, how others are dropped or softened. This is how you build real speaking fluency, not just with rules, but with rhythm. So remember this. Reading is not silent. Reading has a voice. That voice can become your voice. Each time you read, you are not just training your mind. You are training your ear, and your ear trains your mouth. Slowly, your speaking becomes smoother, more automatic, more natural. That is the power of reading. And that is how you speak better English, by hearing it, feeling it, and letting it grow inside you. Now, let's look at a common mistake many English learners make, especially when they try to improve their speaking. The mistake is this. They try to remember too many rules while speaking. For example, you may be speaking and suddenly think, wait, is this the right tense? Should I use do or does? What's the correct word order? What if I make a mistake? Your brain gets full of questions, and your mouth stops working. This happens because in school, many people learn English like a puzzle. They learn piece by piece, grammar, vocabulary, exercises. But speaking is not a puzzle. Speaking is a skill. And when you try to speak and think about grammar at the same time, it becomes stressful. Now here's the correction. Focus on simple, complete phrases, not grammar rules. For example, instead of thinking, do I say I go or I goes? Train your brain to remember the full phrase, I go to work. She goes to school. These are short, real phrases. You've seen them in stories. You've read them in books. That's why reading helps, because you see the full sentence again and again. Your brain learns by patterns. Here's another mistake. Learners try to understand every word while reading. And when they don't know one word, they stop. They check a dictionary. They get frustrated. But in real communication, you don't need to understand every word. You need to understand the message. So here's a better way. Keep reading even if you don't know every word. Try to understand the meaning from the context. Trust your brain. The more you read, the more you'll start to recognize words and patterns. And soon they will appear in your speaking. Let me give you a real example. Wrong way. I am study everyday English. This sounds like a direct translation from another language. It's not how native speakers say it. Correct way. I study English every day. Why is this correct? Because in English, the order is subject, verb, object. I study English. When you read often, you see this pattern again and again. You don't need to remember a rule. You just feel what sounds right. That's the goal. Not to remember, but to recognize. So here's your small mindset shift. Don't try to build every sentence. Borrow them. Take phrases from your reading. Use them in your own speaking. Change one word if you need to. From I study English every day, you can say, I watch English videos every day. I read 5 minutes every day. Same structure, same feeling, different action. That's how you grow. Not with rules, with real, living language. Now, you might be asking, okay, I want to read, but what should I read? That's a good question. And the answer is simple. Read what you enjoy. Don't choose books just because they are for learners. Choose something that feels interesting to you. If it's boring, you won't keep going. If it's fun, your brain will want more. Start small. A short story, a blog post, a page from a children's book. Even the subtitles of your favorite series, but in English. You don't need to read a novel. You don't need to read fast. What matters is that you do it every day, even for 5 minutes. You can also read song lyrics and try to understand the meaning, easy news in English, simple dialogues or conversations online, comics or graphic stories, stories you already know in your language, but in English. And if you want to train your ear at the same time, find books with audio. Listen while you read. That way, you connect the sound and the words. Just remember, it's okay if you don't understand everything. Skip the hard word. Focus on the message, the meaning, the feeling. Your brain learns when it sees and hears words in context, again and again. So don't wait for the perfect book. Just choose something easy, something light, something fun, and begin. So, today, you learned something simple, but powerful. Reading is not just for learning vocabulary. It's not just for quiet moments. Reading can train your brain to speak, to think, to feel the rhythm of English. You don't need to read for hours. You don't need to understand every word. You don't need a perfect book. You just need to start. 5 minutes, every day. Little by little, your brain will change. Your speaking will feel easier. Your words will come faster. Your confidence will grow. Remember Emma? She didn't use a big method. She just picked up a small book and kept going. You can do the same. So take a moment right now. Ask yourself, what can I read today? Pick something simple. Pick something fun. And read it like you're listening to a voice, a soft, clear English voice. Maybe that voice will become your own. You're not just learning English, you're becoming someone who lives with English. And that starts with one small page. Every day, I'm proud of your progress. Keep going. You're doing better than you think. If you enjoyed this episode of Speak Better Podcast, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new one. Leave a like, share it with a friend, or send it to someone who's learning English just like you. And if you found this helpful, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep reading, keep listening, and keep speaking better. You've got this.